What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving weekend, holiday weekend. I want to get back in this week, just jump right into a nice, easy subject, do a little Black Friday recap. Now, I know you hear me say that and you might just be like, what the fuck, nobody cares. But I have a more general point that I want to make, but we got to get through some Black Friday numbers, some sales numbers, basically, just some hard financial data, I guess, before you can make the point. Overall, my question to you guys is just going to be like, are you really even shopping on Black Friday anymore? I mean, I know Black Friday in this country has turned into like a 4-day event. We're on Monday. This is Monday, the 1st of December, and it's Cyber Monday, whatever. So the deals are still rolling, I guess, if you want to call them that. Deals don't feel all that great anymore. I've watched a couple videos today, listening to just interviews, like news interviews of people at Black Friday, complaining they didn't feel like the sales that used to be were there. And I feel like I remember this when I was like younger. It used to be a thing like, hey, let's go Black Friday shopping. Everything's half off, 50% off. Go buy some video games, go get some Xbox games, something like that, something cheap. And you actually feel like you got a good deal on something. Nowadays, not so much. Me personally, though, I'm always kind of looking to save a buck. So this weekend's basically my Christmas shopping weekend. Got most of mine out of the way. Hope you did too. You might as well take advantage of what little you can get. It's better than nothing. The interesting point, though, is sales overall. People are spending more money. Despite, I've talked about it on this channel a ton, the overall outlook of the economy is kind of negative, is down as of right now. But spending is up. So overall spending up about 4% in store and online. In store, not as much. Online is the thing nowadays. If you're going to an actual store on Black Friday, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if there's something I don't know, but overall it's the same stuff, except I don't have to leave my house and they'll just ship it to me instead. So I'm not going to go to some store where there's a shitload of people jammed in there just to get the same deal I could get when I just sit on my computer and do it that way. So I don't know. You tell me. Online sales, though, up 10%. So obviously that's where the majority of the sales are coming from. But the interesting part is overall, like, items purchased is down 2%. So I know there's probably some statistical tricks you could work here or there. So I'm not saying that, hey, you're getting less for your money directly, even though I do think that's the case. I think a lot of people are probably just buying like the bigger purchase items are, there's people trying to get sales on it, because it's like, hey man, if I'm going to spend $500 but I can get $150 off, I'm going to do that. If a shirt's on sale for 10% off, I don't really give a shit. Like, I'm not going to buy it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to try to bang for my buck, I guess, effectively, and just maximize what you can get off, especially with people Christmas shopping. So it's interesting, but honestly it could be inconsequential. It doesn't necessarily correlate to anything, but still, like I said, my bias is pointing me to the fact that you're just not getting as much for your money. Your money's not going as far. The last couple of years we've seen steady increases in spending on Black Friday. I was looking into the stats for the last couple of years. It keeps going up every year, and people probably feel like they're getting less and less each year as inflation goes up. This year we're dealing with tariff increases to prices. Overall degradation of the economic situation in the United States. However you want to call it, I think that's generally how people feel. Like I said, you guys let me know. I'd be interested to see what you think if you went out, especially if you went out in person. I don't know what the experience is like for you on that end, but I really don't want any part of it. Now, the interesting part, the part I really want to get to, buy now, pay later, and credit cards. So there's no real hard numbers on this, but surveys, and there's a survey done by, I can't remember, and I didn't write it down. There was a survey done, 1,200 people, basically saying, hey, what do you plan on buying your Black Friday stuff with? Credit cards, buy now, pay later, is like over 60%. It's around 65% is what people planned to buy all the things on Black Friday with. So credit cards, I like Dave Ramsey, but I'm not a diehard, don't ever use a credit card, it's the devil or whatever. But I am very, very strict on there is no credit card rollover. If I buy the credit card, I'm using it like a debit card. It could get paid off tomorrow. That's how it works. There is no buy stuff you can't afford on the credit card. It's not how I operate. I would encourage you to do the same. Buy now, pay later, I never do, because if I don't have the money, I'm not buying the thing. Buy now, pay later, I guess you can do 0% interest, but I just don't like the concept. It's predatory. They're basing it around probably people forgetting, or mostly people not being able to afford it at the time, and they say, well, I can afford 4 payments of $49.99. Stupid shit like that. The problem was credit cards, not as much, but the buy now, pay later specifically, almost 7% of all the purchases on Black Friday were made using buy now, pay later. This is according to Salesforce, just data broker, online data broker, whatever Salesforce operates as technically. Now, 800 million, kind of like not necessarily the biggest chunk, but we're creeping on 10%. Is people can't afford to buy the shit they're buying. The credit card, like I said, I would say you could at least attribute another quarter of that of people just putting on credit cards that they can't actually afford. So we're creeping on 30% of all the things purchased over the Black Friday weekend, over the sales weekend, is purchased with money people don't actually have. So that's a great way to do things. Just keep buying stuff as economic conditions worsen and people are more and more worried. It's either that or they just don't have the money. Realistically, you just don't have it. But people are like, well, I'm going to get my kids Christmas presents. Well, I mean, yeah, you can go into debt for Christmas presents, I guess. Christmas present isn't, what am I going to do, get all preachy about it? But it's like, presents aren't the whole deal, bro. You can't just be like, I got to get the kid the new PlayStation, go into debt, put it on the buy now, pay later, get on bestbuy.com and get that fucking Affirm loaded up and get your 10 payments of $50 a month or whatever it is. It's just a terrible thing. Honestly, that whole business model is disgusting in my opinion. But it's the reality we live in. I hope if you're watching this kind of YouTube content, you're not the person that's the target audience for these buy now, pay later things. But hey, who knows? A lot of money gets moved around over this past weekend. The rough number was, what was it? $12 billion, almost. So a little over $11.5 billion over the couple days. I think it said in the article I was reading, the peak spending on actual Black Friday was $12.5 million a minute was being transacted total. I mean, obviously those numbers are kind of just estimations and things like that, but those numbers for a lot of people are literally almost incomprehensible. Almost 13 mil a minute just moving, just people just spending money like crazy. And like we talked about before, a good portion of them spending money they don't actually have, buying things they can't actually afford, living beyond their means. And if that's not American, I don't know what is, baby. I guess that's where we're at, and that's where we're going to stay, and it's only going to get worse. Like I said, the spending keeps going up year after year on Black Friday, and it's not going to slow down because the money's going to keep getting inflated. The value of the money, I guess I should say, is going to keep getting inflated away, and what you're able to afford with what you make at work is just going to keep going down and down and down. So, like I said, I did a little bit of Christmas shopping. I don't know what you guys think. I'm going to keep it short. There's not that much to talk about, but it's a worrying thing to me, at least, considering overall sentiment around the economy is on the decline. People think it's getting worse and worse, but spending's going up and up and up. Now, I don't know if there's a trend historically of like, hey, right before shit goes, before everything goes to hell, people just spend like there's no tomorrow because they're just like, well, screw it. It's all going to get terrible, so I'm just going to get what I want right now. I think there's probably a mental gymnastics trick that people fall into with that, but I'd like to hear what you guys think, especially, like I said, if you were out shopping in person. Let me know how the experience was this year, because I don't think I'll ever go in-person Black Friday shopping again in my life. I'm gonna go home and clean up my Christmas shopping for the year, get the baby some clothes or something like that. She's not really in for good presents as of yet. She doesn't really give a shit. She'd probably rather play with the box than play with whatever you got that was inside the box. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Leave a like on the video if you got something out of it. Dislike it if you didn't. Tell me why. And appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Come back tomorrow.